Greetings. This is TK Trav, aka Travis Magus, here with LVX777. And today, we're going to talk about a few different things. I asked in the Facebook group if there was any particular topic that you guys wanted to hear about, because I had a lot of different things on my mind. Some people wanted to hear about my experiences with specific spirits of the Goetia. Some people wanted a book list. Some people wanted to know about the different laws of the Hermetic principles, etc., etc. Yeah, so I guess we'll just kind of go off the top here. One spirit that comes up a lot in conversation in the group right now is Marchosias. I did enjoy working with this spirit in particular. I thought she was pretty cool. Yeah. Marchosias is one of the few Goetic spirits that says she used to be an angel and hopes to return to her position as an angel after a set number of years. So this is one of the spirits that kind of doesn't really owe allegiance to the dark side. But working with Marchosias, she definitely has proven herself to me as a protector spirit, as a warrior spirit, as a type of bodyguard, if you will. At the time, I was really looking for some type of spiritual energy to protect me and, stand in my defense, because I was being treated unfairly at the time. And before I made it to Andras, I found Marchosias, and she did a pretty decent job, deflecting a lot of flack that would have normally come my way. And the way that I evoked her was the way that I typically evoke the rest of the spirits. I draw the sigil. I go into a meditative trance to still my mind, and I meditate on the sigil with the candle in front of me, incense going, and I have a petition written out for the spirit. Pretty much a dialogue of what I would like for the spirit to do for me. And when I evoked Marchosias, the spirit appeared to me as a female, most definitely. Surprisingly enough, as a young female, like a teenager. One key thing about her personality is she was very chatty. She liked to talk incessantly. And that's cool. I normally don't like that kind of thing, but made for good conversation. And that was just in the idle time where there wasn't really work to be done, which is much better than, say, Andras, who will probably cause havoc when there's nothing to do. But as far as beast mode, warrior mode, Marchosias, in the spirit realm, appeared to me brandishing two big-ass swords, and she appeared as somebody that was well-trained in the art of being a ninja assassin, basically. And she certainly kept certain people away from me. Even though they tried to pin different things on me, nothing really stuck. So kudos to that spirit. If you have issues with being treated unfairly and needing some type of spiritual defense, Marchosias is definitely a Goetic spirit that you want to check out. And one thing about these Goetic spirits, you're going to notice that when you look into the books, each one of them is in charge of a certain number of legions. And what that really means is, it's like working at a store. You got the manager, and the manager has a certain number of employees that actually do the job, and the manager kind of oversees the job to make sure everything's done. Well, when you're speaking with these spirits, they get the message, and they're the ones that relay back and forth to you. But essentially, the legions are the ones that actually go forth into the astral realm and make the change that you desire to be made. And I'm going to state again, I know I've said it in previous videos, when these spirits talk to you, it's not verbal, right? It's not like you're going to hear voices. And you may, if you're clairaudient. But for the most part, they speak to you in vibration, right? The energy, you're in contact with energy here. And when it hits your subconscious mind, you translate it into words that you can understand. So when I say that Marchosias was chatty, this spirit had a lot of energy to convey to me, right? And in my mind, it interpreted as, you know, a lot of talk from a young female who was very excited, you know, to be here. Kind of like in the Avengers movie with Thanos, how Spider-Man was, you know, trying to talk to Iron Man constantly. Kind of like that kind of energy. Andras, on the other hand, really, I would pay attention to what the Goetic says about Andras and steer clear of this spirit unless you know very well how to banish, because Andras doesn't necessarily leave until he wants to, and he sometimes came as a she. But Andras definitely gets the job done, most definitely. But the problem is, he tends to stick around and turns his fangs on you or people in your camp, all right? And I promise you don't want that. I did a lot of intensive work with Andras, and part of that was, I would say, you know, my mistake, my lesson learned. I really devoted too much attention to this entity when I was working with him, and I think giving him too much attention is what really caused what happened to happen. But anyways, working with Andras very closely and intensely in meditations in the astral realm, day in and day out, I was communicating with Andras. Very cold spirit and personality. Not very charismatic, not emotional at all. Just cold. You know, I almost want to say like a sociopath. And he, on one of our final transmissions, he really communicated to me how he was absolutely bloodthirsty. He got his pleasure in causing pain and causing havoc in people's lives, chaos, discord. This is what fueled him to continue. It gave him strength. I nicknamed him Owlface because he appeared to me with the owl face, riding on a wolf, holding a long sword. Kind of like the type that you see like when people do fencing and it's the sport of swordplay. He had one of those type of swords. And I can just remember being in some deep meditations in the astral realm with him, and we would always be on the edge of this cliff, right, in this vast wilderness, and you know, me being there and him being next to me. Below the cliff, as far as the eye could see, were his legions, right, his legions of spirits. And there were 30 legions. Let me make sure that, yeah, it's 30 legions. And they were broken into groups of 3, right? It was 3 different rows of spirits. One of them specifically dealt with causing discord in the body. And these were black, slimy demons. I hesitate to give too much detail because when you work with these spirits, you got to leave a little bit open for your imagination so you can really interpret them the way that you need to. But they appeared to me in a very iconic form. eyeless demons that are pretty much unstoppable once they set forth. And like I said, this first group dealt with causing chaos and havoc and discord in the body. The second third of his legion dealt with technology. What they did when they were sent forth was they caused chaos in the target's electrical devices. Cell phones would break or crack, servers would be interrupted, messages and pictures would be sent without their permission, cars would break down, that type of thing. These spirits set out to cause chaos when it came to technology. The last third were these massive, tentacled, weird-looking creatures. The best way that I can really describe these guys, or if you've ever seen the movie Edge of Tomorrow with Tom Cruise, those black, melanated demons that came to attack the world, that's what this third looked like. And their specialty was digging into the memories of the victim and really bringing up painful memories, just like at random, right? Bringing up things that would really cause anguish in their emotional lives. So you got this whole team of spirits, one to cause pain in the body, in the guts and the muscles and all that stuff, one to cause inconvenience in the things that are supposed to be convenient, like the cell phones, the car, technology, computers, things like that, passwords getting lost, that kind of thing. And the other third was to really cause anguish in the mind. So Andras would stand on this hill, I'd give my command, and he'd, raise his sword, and then you'd see these armies going out into the distance, knowing exactly what they have to do, marching into their separate ways, one after another. And all these things happened to the person that I set these against. Needless to say, this person became too overwhelmed with their own life to cause me any more trouble. And, I had nothing personal against this person at all. I really wish I didn't have to take it this far, but I did. And, once everything was over, I called the spirits off. So I thought. But what I learned is that Andras needs to feed off of chaos. And see, the mistake that I made with this Goetic spirit is you're never supposed to become obsessed with an entity. That's the mistake that I made. I venerated him because he actually did what I asked. And I was so excited because this is one of the first times that I got real profound results with exactly what I wanted, Everything that the spirit said that it would do for me, he did. And I was just so happy about that I made a little wall trophy thing, with a little owl face mask, and I drew his sigil, and I had a little plaque for the leaders of his legions. Well, see, the problem with doing that is you're giving that spirit way too much attention. Way too much attention. I gave him a place to live in my home. So it wasn't over. It wasn't over. It got to the point where when I called him off of the person that I set him against, the next thing he did was went to the next person in my life with the same name and started doing the same shit to this person. Okay? And as I'm starting to see the effects of cell phones being broken, cars breaking down, bad memories and fits of depression and things like that, I'm like, wait a minute, this sounds familiar. I didn't do this. I didn't set the spirit against her. So once again, I tried to call Andras off and dispel everything. I didn't realize at the time that the plaque that I had on my wall was really the focal point of cementing the spirit in my life. So once again, he moved to another person in my life with a similar name and began causing more chaos. So this is a lesson to y'all. Summon these spirits, have them do the job that you set them forth to do, thank them, and send them on their way. Don't build nothing on your altar. Don't, you know what I'm saying, worship, nothing in that realm of keeping it permanent. Because you got to understand, these spirits are the 72 energy centers of your pineal gland. And the reason we're working with the Goetic system is so we can open up each one of these channels of our pineal gland, of our third eye, and to the point that we really get a broad understanding of how to manipulate the energy within us, right? Because that's what we're doing. As we play with the Goetia, we learn how to operate the third eye. We learn how to use it. That's what we're doing here, all right? You don't have to go through the whole 72. You have to do it enough until you really figure out, hey, this is what's going on, and this is how I can do it easier next time. You're not supposed to get stuck on one, so take it from me. That'll be a pitfall that you can avoid. But yeah, that was the only spirit that I really had to follow the book and call Mikael forth to punish this spirit and really get him out of his established seat that he had in my life. So that was an interesting experience. Yeah, and he gave me this speech, like, he came to me and, like, I just channeled. And I say he, but it's a feminine, it's an androgynous spirit, right? I say he because of, at times, he wasn't aggressive, but very persistent. But there were feminine qualities as well. Where was I going with that? Yeah, I'll never forget Andras, that's for sure. I could write a book about that, and I might. As a matter of fact, I will really detail the 30 legions of his. Because, I mean, he works. He really does. But you just got to be careful, you know what I'm saying, to put him back in the cage once he's done. Who else? Yeah, somebody left in the comments about working with Bune. And I responded I didn't get results with Bune. That's partly true and partly false. I didn't get any results when it came to money, but I definitely got results when it came to communicating with the dead. Somebody did actually hire me to speak with their dead husband, and that's a story that I'll save for another video. But yeah, to practice, I summoned the spirit and tried to channel the energy of a young girl who was recently killed in our city, just to kind of see what was going on. And yeah, I got results there. But yeah, that story went on too long. I had these books that I wanted to show you guys. Another question that somebody had was, where do you find these spirits to summon, to evoke? Where do you find the demons, the angels, the Goetic spirits, the Olympic spirits, etc., etc.? Answer number one is Google. Go online and search. You will find a wealth of information on all these spirits. Probably the best book that I read about the Goetic spirits is Michael W. Ford's book, The Luciferian Goetia. Okay, because the Lesser Key of Solomon doesn't give you very much information at all. Most of the evocations that I performed don't really correlate with the description in the Lesser Key of Solomon. Some of them physically appeared that way, but not most. And as far as the powers, most of them were kind of accurate, but you got to understand that these grimoires that are written are one magician's experience, right? It's not the law. It's how one person had success. So you really have to take it as a open source program, if you will. But quickly here, I'll go through these books because we're reaching the 20-minute mark. Necronomicon. You will definitely find 50 spirits that you can work with and more. These guys come with their own set of energy. It's very dark, very low vibrational because it's old and it's not really accessed that much because a lot of people don't believe that this works, but also a lot of people don't know how to evoke properly. So this is probably one of the good starter kits that you can get. You know what I'm saying? A lot of stuff in here that you can dig through and get to get the feel of what a grimoire is like. Another one, I got this field guide to demons. It will give you a little bit of information about the nature of certain spirits, but not the best, I would say, for evoking, but you can certainly try it. Alright, a field guide to demons, fairies, fallen angels, and other subversive spirits. Good book though. Book of Black Magic. This has a lot to do with the Goetic spirits and a few others. Really, I would get this book just for the sigils and the brief descriptions. Alright, and you can kind of follow the method of evocation with a grain of salt, of course. Really, all you need is a quiet space, candle, you know what I'm saying, some music, some incense, the sigil, and some focus and some confidence. Alright, but yeah, this is another book. Once again, go to Google, you will find information there. Creating Magical Entities. This is a great book for creating sigils, creating egregores, and creating your own spirits to do exactly what you want them to do. Okay, and this is actually a good skill that we will be getting into in the future, how to create your own spirits. So this is a good book. Brother Panic actually has a long video that goes into detail about this book and this practice. Summoning Spirits by Constantinos. One of the best books of evocation. A lot of sigils, a lot of example spirits to summon. Great grimoire, if you can find it. Now here we got the Dictionary of Ancient Deities. This book has damn near everybody in it. This book has a lot of spirits, a lot of spirits. Great to have in your library if you ever come across a spirit that you can't find elsewhere. Like if you receive a name during one of your channels or evocations, if something's trying to get to you, you know what I'm saying? This is where you can go back as a reference and figure out who's trying to get in contact with you. I found lots of spirits in there that I would never have found without that book. This is a very excellent book for beginners. The Encyclopedia of Spirits. If you can only afford one of these books in this whole stack, go ahead and get this one. This has a lot of spirits in it, and it's very detailed in the description. And in the beginning, it even gives you a little bit of information of how to go about the process of getting in contact with these spirits. This one has a lot of spirits from different traditions from all across the world. Great book. Like I said, if you got to get one of these, get this one. Amazon is where I got all these books from. Most of these books from. And probably one of my most used books in my whole library is Godwin's Kabbalistic Encyclopedia. I know I put this up in at least 4 or 5 other videos, but for all my work with the Goetia, I've actually used this book. Now, what this encyclopedia is, it deals with the Hebrew and the English crossover translation. So it's got all the Goetic spirits in it. It's got all the angels from the corresponding Shem HaMephorash. It's got a lot of occult terms in it, different Bible terms, all types of useful stuff. Now, as far as figuring out the planets associated with the spirit, the elements, the time of day, etc., again, go to Google. This book has that type of information in it. And if you start to understand the Kabbalah, you can associate what angel goes with what planet, what element, etc., etc. Yeah, that's why I put this book over here. My ex brought me a gift. It's got the zodiac on it. It's pretty cool. I like it. But yeah. Speaking of, what were we saying? The law of correspondence. Yeah. This is why it's important to get different encyclopedias, because when it comes to the law of correspondence, you start to learn the qualities of the different elements and the different planets and things like that, and you can quickly figure out what spirit deals with what, right? Somebody was asking me earlier today, and we're having a little in-semester conversation about her relationships, how to tie up a lot of the loose ends, and how to find somebody new, relationship stuff. Well, the thing is, you start to learn that anything dealing with relationship and sex deals with the sphere of Venus, called Netzach, on the Tree of Life. So any spirit that deals with Venus and Netzach is going to be the type of spirit to solve her issue. So I recommended to her the angel of the sphere of Venus. I believe that was Hanael. Let me see. I believe that was Hanael. We'll figure out here in just a second. Yeah, Hanael. So Hanael deals with love, fertility, friendship, all types of relationships. But once you learn the basics of the planets, the type of energies that they come with, you know that Mars is going to come with war, aggression, courage, strength, those type of masculine things. That's why the symbol is the symbol of the male, the shield and the sword. Jupiter is going to come with expansion and growth. That's why it's the biggest planet. Saturn deals with closing things off, ending things, restricting things. The card of death in the tarot doesn't have to be bad though, because you can use the energy of Saturn on healing a disease. You can stop and restrict and kill disease or sickness, or whatever you channel these energies and use them for. All right. But yeah, the law of correspondence. This is why you have to have a vocabulary and a library of a lot of the different basics, right? The 4 elements, the signs of the zodiac, the tree of life. Learn about these concepts, so no matter what spirit comes up to you, based on his qualities, you can figure out what he does. Or based on where he comes from, you can figure out what he does. See what I'm saying? But yeah, this video has reached about 30 minutes. I try not to make them that long, but yeah. I think I pretty much touched on a lot of different interesting things. The first time I worked with the Necronomicon, one of my favorite skulls just jumped off the shelf and cracked right all up in his head. It's kind of scary. Made me stop for a little while. But yeah, the Necronomicon, those spirits do work. You'll have to just flip through the 50 names of Marduk. One guy that I summoned,